You're watching Taste of Victory.
Hello everyone, welcome back. I noticed that I did not do a set review for the Classic Collection, which is coming out real soon over here, when I had done a set review for every other player set. The gift box on screen right now has come out to US stores like Target, Walmart, and GameStop now as of December 17th, and the full set release with booster boxes and stuff is set to hit LGSs on January 7th, 2022. So let's go ahead and get into the set to see if it's good and if it's worth picking up. First things first, this is primarily a nostalgia set. So if you play the original card game, you are gonna be like loving this artwork. That is the primary purpose, is to like that cool nostalgia cell. I personally grew up on the really obscure North America only Digimon card game that came out in 2004, so I don't have as much nostalgia for this card as I do that card game. And it'd be really cool if we get like a theme set for that card game, but that was North America exclusive, so I don't see why they would do that. But yeah, primarily this is a collector set first and foremost, so if you're playing competitive, there may not be too many options here, but there's certainly some things you should go through that you shouldn't miss, especially as a competitive player. But I think as a collection set, this is definitely a really great sell. First up, we got Agumon. We're starting off with red. He is 3 to play, 0 Digivolve into, and heritable effect is, when attacking, once per turn, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 Tamer card or 1 Digimon card with Agumon in its name among them to your hand, and place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is fantastic because it's another searcher for Agumon decks. I believe Gabumon just gets a carbon copy of this, but for blue. And yeah, this is a fantastic card because you don't have to worry about playing it and giving your opponent too much memory. You can Digivolve into this and still be able to search, though when attacking, timing on it is pretty cool and convenient. I know Jesmon gets something like this in BT 8 or 7, I want to say, where you can attack, and if you draw into the Sistermon off of the effect, you still get to play it with Jesmon's effect. So when attacking searching is a really convenient and heritable. This is a really good boost to consistency for Agumon decks. You definitely want to toss it in there at 3 or 4, just because you want those searches. So yeah, first card of the set looking pretty good for the decks that we have out currently. Next up, we got Beomon as rookie. When Digivolving effect, once per turn, when attacking, or rather inheritable, when attacking, once per turn, when this Digimon attacks a player, draw one card from your deck. So this is another good card for that draw power consistency. This is definitely worth considering because right now a lot of Jesmon decks are running the promo Beomon that came in that little folder that you got from the Bandai sweepstakes. I believe it's when you attack over something, a Digimon or destroy it, you get +1 draw. So this is just kind of like that, but when attacking the player. In a deck like Agumon, you're going to be rushing down security a lot more. And even some Jesmon builds are focused towards more attacking security. So that draw does come up pretty consistently. Pretty easy to meet condition. So in a deck that has kind of consistency issues like Jesmon because of all those white pieces that you're running, this is definitely not a bad inheritable whatsoever. So far, really good red options here for your Jesmon deck if you're hoping to upgrade it with EX1. Next up, we got Dramon. It is a champion, 2 to Digivolve into, 5000 DP. When attacking, inheritable. When this Digimon attacks a player, delete one of your opponent Digimon with 3000 DP or less. So that's not a terrible effect at all, but red has a lot easier ways to remove the opponent's Digimon. This kid at the very least pops the Blanc, I think it is, in the mirror, but you have better ways of doing that. You have better answers to that in a lot of other colors, so Dramon is okay. For the champion lineup, which is pretty consistent in Jesmon builds, I definitely wouldn't prioritize this, and I don't know what red deck would. It's an okay card. Next up, we got Greymon. Let's go ahead and read his alts instead, just because it looks cooler. It is the same effect regardless, just an alt art, but let's look at the cooler one. That's one thing I don't like too much about the art, because it's like, how am I reading this? Like, I gotta really focus on this. I can't tell at a glance like the other one, which is way cooler. Digivolve cost 2, 5000 DP. Inheritable effect, when attacking once per turn, you may play 1 Tyrannomon with a play cost of 3 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. So that is really good for Bond decks, for Agumon, Bond of Bravery. That's awesome because the Tide that lets you warp is only 3 cost. And then if you have the other Agumon out, you basically get a memory for free off of that Agumon's effect when you play a Tyrannomon. So that's really cool. I like that a lot. You don't run, or rather you don't get to play the 4-cost one, which a lot of red decks like to run for that +1, but Agumon you're warping anyway, so you don't care about not running that one. So yeah, this is really good. I feel like the champion lineup in red in general is the tightest slot to find pieces for, because there's a lot of good ones. But yeah, this is definitely justifiable in your Agumon Bond and Bravery deck, and a very good slot in if you can find the place for it. If you can find the space, I think it's really good. Nice. And then we got Tyrannomon. So this is all the way back from Booster Set 1.0. We got like classic support already. Quote unquote classic. This game is only 1 year old, a little over 1 year old. And 2 years old as of now in Japan. Congratulations. Or soon to be. I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyways, we got Tyrannomon. It is 2 to Digivolve into off of either red or green because of Master Tyrannomon, you know? Or Rust Tyrannomon. Then its effect is, when Digivolving, if you don't have a Taiga in play, you may play 1 card from your hand without paying its memory cost. You may play 1 from your hand without paying its memory cost, and then your turn, this Digimon is also treated as green. Its inheritable is, your turn, while this Digimon has Tyrannomon in its name, it gets plus 2000 DP. So that's cool to help your Tyrannomon not die to security effects potentially, or rather to security Digimon, like big 14k meters. And then being able to play a Taiga for free and bridging the red and green gap between Tyrannomon decks is fantastic. Because you saw at the beginning of the game, a lot of people were doing like Christmas Tyrannomon decks because you're running green and red, you know, as your 2 colors, because there's red and green Tyrannomons. A lot of people felt that was the best way to play it, and now this bridges that gap while also letting you play Taiga for free. A lot of people don't like Taiga because its piercing effect actually kind of works counterintuitive to Rust Tyrannomon. Its ability to keep attacking unsuspended Digimon, paired with Dimension Scissors as a fun gimmick, is used as a control aspect to limit your opponent's board, and by being able to pierce when you do that every time, you are constantly threatening losing your Tyrannomon, even if you are chipping away security, and blowing that stack out could be really detrimental to green Tyrannomon decks. So a lot of people don't actually like Taiga, but if you're playing it for free off of this, I don't think it's bad at all. The worry there is that it's when Digivolving, so you have to pull out a Raising and leave this stack vulnerable in a meta that has a lot of removal in X1, in the Extra Set 1 Classic Collection. So overall, this is definitely a great card for the deck, but I don't think it really pushes it up any tiers. Really great for Tyrannomon fans though, just to have that. Next we got Garudaman. Garudamon's a classic from the anime. 3 to Digivolve into level 5. Inheritable effect, when attacking once per turn, when this Digimon attacks a player, gain 1 memory. So for a level 5, that's not too good, because first of all, it's an inheritable, which is at a level 5 is pretty slow, and you already have a lot of great other level 5s in the meta decks that would need one. For example, in Jesmon, you have your level 5 slot locked down, you don't have more room, and in Agumon, you just skip it entirely. So this card is cute, not too good, and it's only once per turn, so it's not like you can exploit it or anything like with Zuluman that has a similar kind of effect. Yeah, it's just an okay card. Next up, we got Magnetromon. Magnetromon is 3 to Digivolve into from either red or black, which is cool, supporting that those Gigadramons and Megadramons that we got in Booster Set 6 just recently. It is 7000 DP, and then it's actually an on-play. You delete up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon with 3000 DP or less. That is okay. At one point of the game, it would have been good, but even then, Rookie Rush very quickly started running like 4 cost, 5 cost level 3s. So this usefulness just keeps going down and down. It's not too good of an on-play. Your turn, inheritable. While this Digimon has Machine in its traits, gain Security Attack +1. So there is a Magnetromon deck introduced in this Classic Collection X1 set. That is a very good effect for it. So yeah, this is definitely good as a piece in a Magnetromon deck. And once we get to Magnetromon itself and its effect, it'll become more clear. But yeah, this is actually really great for the inheritable. Next up, we got Metal Greymon, who is one of the few lucky cards with an awesome alternate art. I really love the alternate in this game, even if I don't have nostalgia for them. They're cool. It's 7 play cost, 3 to Digivolve into, 7000 DP. When attacking, when this Digimon attacks a player, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. 7000 DP with Reds and Inheritables is okay. I think you get up to 10k kind of consistently with this dude. So it's not too dangerous to swing with him. I think you feel pretty safe most of the time. But just to delete a 4000 DP, I don't know how often that will really come up. Digivolve effect. Your turn, while the Digimon has Machine or Dragonkin in its traits, it gains Piercing. So this is another one that seems like it could be Magnetromon support, I think, because of the Machine. And then Dragonkin, so I believe that gives the Greymon Piercing in the set. So that's pretty cool. This is an overall very decent card. It's okay for what it does. Next up, we got Greymon. Let's go ahead and look at his cooler art instead, which is so sick. It is actually a 4 to Digivolve into, which is something you never like to see at first glance on a Mega. When Digivolving, Blitz. And then when attacking, when this Digimon attacks a player, if you have a Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with Blocker. So that's cool. Even if you pass memory with this thing, and if you're in a position to delete a blocker and they have 0 security, this will still get you game. So this is a cute card, but its power level for a 4-cost Mega just doesn't really check out for me. I think there's a lot of better Megas that Red will want to run over this. And our final red card is Phoenixmon. Unfortunately, Phoenixmon was not cool of a main character enough to get a alternate art. We got Security Attack +1, which is, you know, always nice to see. And then we have when this Digimon attacks a player, draw 2. Yeah, for Mega level, this doesn't do enough. It's only 3,000 DP, sure, but it's also, or rather 300 Digivolve into, but it's 11,000 DP, which is criminally low. You have boosts in red to give it up to a nice level, but with how much more level 7s are now in the game, you have a lot of 14 and 15,000 DP checks waiting for you in security, and Haguroman just does not do enough, I think, as itself for a Mega. It's not proactive, it's not hurting your opponent's board. It's okay. This would have been good like at an ultimate or something like that. As it is, it's just not impactful enough to climb all the way up into and risk getting deleted. After that, we're on to the blue, and this is a shorter set than usual, a smaller set, so this video should also probably be shorter than usual. For a set review, first up, blue card, we got Gabumon. I love his art. I love Greymon line, and I prefer it over the Garudaman line, but I've always loved Gabumon more than I loved Agumon, despite being a main character. Like, Gabumon is just so cute. He's such a chunker. I love him. But Greymon is cooler than Garudaman line. I'll admit that, at least the Greymon line is cooler. But let's get into it. When attacking, once per turn, inheritable, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Tamer card or 1 Digimon card with Gabumon in its name among them to your hand, and place the remaining at the bottom of the deck. So yeah, this is just the blue version of that red Agumon we saw earlier, and this card is absolutely fantastic. You love this. It helps you search more. Blue Gabumon runs plenty of level 4s, like either Lilymon, Agumon, or Lobomon. If you need to search, you can go into this one. Yeah, more search in this deck is always incredibly important, since you really want to see that you always want to see that Gabumon, you always want to have a Gabumon in hand, or you always want to see the Tamer to be able to warp. It's a fantastic card. Fantastic, and its alt is gorgeous. Next up, we got No Neck Gomamon with a cute alt. It is on play, trash 1 Digivolution card from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. So it's basically a 3-cost option with a body. I don't see this being good, since black, or rather blue, I don't know why I said black. Blue has a lot more proactive ways to remove sources in the Majiramon Azulong archetype. But this is just another one to make sure you remove it, I guess. But yeah, for 3, I don't see it being too good. It's okay. Next up, we got Vmon. I'm really surprised to see this Vmon doesn't have an alt. That's fan favorite. This card is really good. This is part of the new set of new support introduced for Imperial German in this set. Imperial German will never die. You'll always have a profile on this channel every set somehow. It is inheritable effect. Your turn, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended during your main phase, gain 1 memory. And if you've seen Imperial German at your locals or online, whatever, you know how much unsuspending that thing is doing. So this basically turns any restand off of Imperial German into a -1 off of the cost of it, which would be what, like a 2-cost Digivolution normally if you're Digimon over Palamon or Dinobi. So this Vmon's fantastic, and you absolutely run it at 4. Awesome card. More support for Imperial German, we got X-Vmon. It has jamming, which is fantastic at the champion level. You love to see that, since this deck is normally being aggressive early on anyways, because you also have jamming Vmon, which is a rookie. Level 3. It can Digivolve for 2 over green or blue, which you love to see at the champion level for making that bridging easier between the 2 colors. And its inheritable is your turn. While this Digimon has Imperial German in its name or free in its traits, it gains jamming. So that's amazing, because you have jamming at this level, you evolve into Imperial German or Dinobi, and you get jamming again off of its free, so you can always be aggressive at any level in this game, and it itself having jamming, being able to restand later is really good. X-Vmon is a fantastic card, definitely a 4 of. Next up, we got Garudaman. Let's look at his cool art, which is different from the rest. So this is based on the packaging of the original Digimon V-Pet device toys. Tyrannomon was on the packaging of one of these, so if we look, I think I actually skipped over it, but if we look at Tyrannomon's art, this exactly mimics the packaging of his Digivice, or at least one of the Digivices, and Gurumon is mimicking that as well, which is really cute. So we have the Digivolving inheritable. When attacking, once per turn, you may play 1 Matashila with play cost of 3 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. So again, fantastic effect for that 3 or less. The thing is, both of these decks don't really run too many ultimates, so it's like, what is going to be playing that? It says you can't warp from Gurumon into Gabumon. So maybe you could tech in some ultimates, which is definitely something people have done. You know, I've seen a lot of people in blue at least running that. I think it was Kendo Gurumon. So it's definitely something. If you want to build to add room for this, yeah, it's really great to get that free mat. But because of the nature of those 2 decks, I don't know how often you'll be going into it. I do think in concept they're great cards though. It's just up to you to build around them. Next up, we got Katuman, which is Source Strip support, which you love to see because it's always like been Blue's identity since set 1. 6 to hardcast, which is quite a lot for a champion. It is 2 to Digivolve into 6000 DP, which is a good healthy number. Your turn, this Digimon can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with no Digivolution cards. So that is really good. So like you could trade into a blocker without even having it to worry about blocking the attack you actually want to go through. If they're hard casting rookies like searchers or stuff, you can take care of them right away so they can't chip away security with them or Digivolve over them and get value by cycling off of them. That is a very good effect in theory. We'll definitely have to see how it goes off in practice. But I like it right now. It's definitely not, maybe you don't build around it, but this is definitely a great tech card in any Source Strip deck. I'm liking that a lot. Next up, we got Gurumon. I believe he has an alt art, which is absolutely gorgeous. When Digivolving, draw 1. So for a 3 at the a 3 cost at level 5, that's not too exciting. Let's hope Inheritable saves it. When attacking once per turn, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, gain 1 memory. So this is a very easy condition for Blue to meet with like Upamon and all that stuff. So that is a nice bonus there to have gain 1 memory, but between only being a draw 1 of Digivolution and then Inheritable, you have to go all the way to a Mega to use it. This card is not too good. I don't see it seeing any play. Next up, we got Zuluman, which should be supporting that Katuman archetype introduced. It is 3 Digivolve into 8000 DP. When Digivolving, trash 1 Digivolution card from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. And then your turn, this Digimon can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon cards with no Digivolutions, with no sources. So yeah, similar to Katuman, it's really great for being able to control the board and just go ahead and attack an unsuspended Digimon so you can't play around it by not swinging. You'll be able to swing into them anyways. I think this is more valuable at the Agumon line level just because you get to go into it faster, you get to attack rookies. I think for that kind of effect, this is fine. You can run a couple copies of it, but I wouldn't plan around this because I think your opponent will probably outpace you and be something that'll be too big to swing into anyways by the time you get to Zuluman. Next up, we got, and he did have a cool alternate art. I love that. Next up, we got Imperial German, who also got a cool alternate art. 3 to Digivolve into over green or blue, which again, I don't like that you can't tell at a glance the green or blue part. You have to read it out. But when Digivolving, if you have a Digimon card with free in its traits, in this Digimon's Digivolution cards unsuspend this Digimon. So this pairs really great with the XVmon earlier because it is a free type and it has jamming, so you can just unsuspend and swing some more. And because of this inheritable effect we hear, it gets jamming as well. Because the old Padamong had jamming, this one doesn't. So this lets you be so aggressive. And then it has the inheritable effect. Your turn, while this Digimon has Imperial German in its name, it cannot be blocked. So yeah, no blockers finally stopping you, which was one of the biggest hurdles in Imperial German decks, because back then the blue did not have too great removal. You had to rely on something dumb like a Kaida's Breath or Ray of Victory. But now you got this that makes it unblockable once you get to Imperial German, so you can really close games off with this inheritable. I love this card. This is a 5 out of 5 card. Next up, we got Plessy Oman, who once again was not too cool of a main character to get an alt. Unfortunate, Plessy Oman fans, I'm sorry. Your turn, once per turn, when one of your opponent's Digivolution cards is trashed, draw 2. That's pretty good. That's really great with your inheritables being able to do some of that on attacking, I think. That's pretty good. Then you can just Digivolve into like, what was it? I think there's like a champion in the Hexablow line that Digivolves, the trash out Digivolution. So if you have both of those out, that's pretty good. Your turn, when this Digimon can also attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon with no Digivolution cards. Okay, so it also has the effect that the others have of attacking unsuspended Digimon with no sources. That's why he's 11,000 DP, and unfortunately, blue is a color that does not have very much DP boost at all. It is hurting for it, so that 11,000 DP really does hurt it for a Mega level Digimon. It's okay as a level 6. I think as a boss for Source Strip, it is sitting behind Azulong and Hexablow, so you definitely don't run this as a boss monster. I don't even know if you really run it. It's really outclassed even within its archetype of Source Strip, so that's really unfortunate for it. Next up, we got Meta Gurumon, who is a cool main character, so he does get a cool alt art. He is 4 to Digivolve into something that always puts me uneasy at first, 12,000 DP. When Digivolving, gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your hand. So on average, I think having 8 is very common, so very, very common. So this could easily be a 2-cost Digivolution. So far, so good. Let's see here, and then when attacking, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand and a Tamer in play, return one of your opponent's Digimon with an on-deletion effect to the bottom of its owner's deck. That is really specific for all the setup you need to have. I think this card could potentially age well and become something that becomes meta relevant, you know, depending what ends up becoming top dog. But as it is, this is not enough to climb all the way to, you know, this is not proactive enough of a mega. It's kind of weird how specific it is. So this card is okay, but as of now has no use in the meta. Next up, we got Imperial German, who has a cool regular card and a sick alt art. Imperial German Dragon Mode. It is 3 to Digivolve into from either a green or blue level 5. And then when Digivolving, if a Digimon card with free in its traits is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, unsuspend this Digimon and suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. Your turn, for each color in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, it gets plus 1000 DP. So as we saw earlier, XV, Pyodra, they're able to Digivolve from a green, so you should be able to at least get up to 13, you know, plus 2 from those 2 colors. So you should be able to hit 13,000 pretty easily, which is a great number. And then, and especially in a color that doesn't have a lot of DP boost, and then it basically still unsuspends itself like the old Imperial German did, but now you also spend a Digimon, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon as well, so you're able to swing into that if you want to beat over something that's threatening. Yeah, this card is great. You run 4 of the other 2 of this, or maybe 3-3. It's definitely up to you, you know. But this card is fantastic as well, and able to close games just as well as the old one was able to. Well, although I think as a pure win con, the old one's probably better, but this is still a fantastically powerful Imperial German to add to the deck. And there's still more support to come from it later in the video because we got green cards to support it too. First up though, we got yellow. We have Elecmon. I love Elecmon. He is so cute. I wish he got an alt. Inheritable is on deletion, one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -1 for the turn. So yellow has probably the best rookies in the entire game. This is too slow and not proactive enough to matter, in my opinion. It's whatever. Then we got Padamong, who looks like he just pooped himself. He is 3 to play, 0 Digivolve into, 2000 DP. On play, reveal the top 4 cards to your deck. Add 1 Digimon card with Angel, Archangel, or 3 Great Angels in its traits among them to your hand, and place them remaining at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is a new archetype support for the Angel lines that we see here, 3 of them. And Padamon is kind of introduced here in Classic Collection, and Padamon is supporting that. It's basically just a searcher for that. And this card, therefore, will live and die by how good the Archangels and other cards that we get later are. So for now, this is not too good because it's really specific for an archetype that probably won't see play. It has a cute alt, at least. And then we go to page 2. We got some more yellow stuff. We have Salamon, really cute art. It is inheritable. When attacking, once per turn, if you have 3 or more security cards, draw 1. 3 or more, so that means even if you're at 5, you get to draw for this, so that's not bad at all. Again, I think it is very hard to complete with Yellow's rookie slots because they have so many good ones, but yeah, this is certainly a usable one. I definitely like that. I don't know how many will actually end up running it though. Next up, we got Garudaman, who's just staring into space, horrified at something. But Digivolve for 2, Hardcaster 4, 5000 DP. When attacking, once per turn, if you have 3 or more security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -2000 DP for the turn. Okay. If you have 3 or more, I actually like this a lot in like, this depends on how relevant Lord Greymon and Lord Nightmon decks end up being later on, but at least for those decks, I like this because a lot of people were already running the champion Garudaman. I think it was a booster set 4 card. Either booster set 4 or 3, but it was just -1000 at the champion level, you know? People were already running it for its inheritables to get huge -1000, huge minus DP on swing. And this does that better just with the condition that is incredibly easy to meet of only 3 or more. You'll usually be balancing at 3 security anyways, and if you're in a good spot, you'll be over 3 regardless. So that's really easy to hit. -2000 is more than 1000. I don't know if that extra 1000 actually breaks any thresholds you wouldn't before. Making it worth having to play around a condition, but I do remember constantly hearing like, oh, I'm just 1000 DP away whenever I play tournaments, you know, so I think this Garudaman is slept on and absolutely has use in War Greymon rather, and Lord Nightmon decks, but the question is, how good are those even going into X1 anymore? And it did have a cute alt. We got Leomond. It is 5 to play, 2 Digivolve into, 5000 DP. It has a security effect, so at the end of the battle, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, recovery +1. So it's a security bomb Digimon that, pretty good, you know? I don't know if security control traditionally would want to run something like this, because it, yeah, I mean, it's recovery more. I was gonna say, like, it might deck you out faster, but at the cost of recovery, I think that's fine. It's okay. It's a security bomb Digimon, so if you're going security heavy, you can probably toss it in there. I think there's doesn't hurt, but it doesn't do much either if you Digivolve into it. You don't really usually run champions, I believe, in security control, so it's just an okay card. At least not a lot of champions. Next up, we got Angie-Woman, who is really lanky in his original art. 2 Digivolve into, 6000 DP. Inheritable is, when attacking once per turn, if you have 3 or more security cards, the Digimon gets +1000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. It's fine. I don't really think yellow is aching too badly for plus DP security inheritable effects. So it's an okay card. Next up, we got Magnetromon. When attacking, if you have 3 or more security cards, this Digimon gets plus 4,000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. So 11,000 DP on its own, that's not bad at all. That's likely to live a lot of ultimates, a lot of champions, so not terrible. And then its inheritable is your turn. Once your turn, when a card is added to your security stack, gain 1 memory. I do like that too as an inheritable. This is probably one of the better Archangel cards that we've seen at least, so this is definitely okay. He had a really sick alternate art, and then we got Angie Woman, who also has a really cool alternate art. It is 3 to Digivolve into, 7,000 DP, level 5. When attacking, if you have 3 or more security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon and all of your opponent's security Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP for the turn. So this is kind of if it were a 10,000 DP Digimon. Although gaining the memory is way better than just reducing someone else's memory by that. And then inheritable is your turn. Once per turn, when a card is added to security stack, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2,000 DP for the turn. Yellow has way easier ways to distribute minus 1,000 DP, so I think in terms of inheritables, that Magnetromon is at least better because you always want that extra memory. This card is just okay. You definitely don't run it over old Angie Woman. We got the Megas now of yellow. We have Seraphimon. I'm really surprised to see that he doesn't have an alt. He is 4 to Digivolve into, 12,000 DP, when Digivolving, recovery +1, and then opponent's turn, while this Digimon is suspended, all of your security Digimon get plus 5,000 DP. 12,000 is okay, at least to make up for the 4 cost Digivolution. Recovery +1. This, I think, is actually really good in security control. I don't know if any have run it in Japan or if anyone has run it in their testing, but at least on paper it looks good to me because sure, 4, but who cares with how much memory you're giving away in that deck anyways, typically. You get a free recovery, just Digivolving, your 12,000 DP, and all your security Digimon, if you like swung off your hard-casted Magnetromon and it lived or something, you Digivolve over it, it's suspended, or they all have 5,000 DP, so everything is like really highly threatened to be deleted by your security when they swing. So I think this is definitely an okay card in security control at least. Next up we got Magnetromon. When Digivolving, you may trash the top card of your security stack to unsuspend this Digimon. And then when attacking, once per turn, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, recovery +1. Okay, so this is cool. So if you have enough memory, you could like go into it. This synergizes more with Magnetromon than it does with its own line, I feel like, because you go into this, it'll probably live at 11,000 DP, or 12,000 if you have an inheritable. If you have enough memory, you go into this, unsuspended. Let's say that puts you to 3 or fewer, you attack, recovery +1, and since this Digimon gets plus 4,000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn, that should carry over, I believe, if you're able to do that all in one turn, and put you at what, 15,000? So that's not bad at all. This card is something that to me seems like it has so much potential, but we've seen that it has not seen a lot of play in Japan, so who knows. I like it on paper though, for sure. Next up, we got green stuff. Green introduces a whole new playstyle of Insectoids supporting that. Let's see how that works out. We got Tentomon and his cool alt art because he's the main character. It is 3 to play, 0 Digivolve into, 2,000 DP, and its inheritable is, when attacking, the next time one of your Digimon Digivolves into a Digimon card with Insectoid or Ancient Insect in its traits, this turn, reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution by 1. So that's okay. I don't know how often you'll be swinging into a champion, but if you do, this will help you go into that ultimate a little cheaper. Next up, we got Palamon. It has a cool alternate art, which is on deletion, suspend one of your opponent's 5,000 DP or less Digimon. I mean, I guess this is okay. Maybe on Rookie Rush, I think even this is probably too slow for that. Next up, we got Puti Sariman, who does not have an alt art. When attacking, this Digimon can Digivolve into a Digimon card with Insectoid in its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost. So I guess you could go this over Tento, swing. If you have a 3 cost, it becomes a 2 cost. You feel a little safer now because you're swinging at an ultimate level with more DP rather than champion. We see what the Insectoid ends up getting. We see that it gets Ancient Insect in BT7. And it ends up being pretty okay for green, but it's still kind of outclassed by just everything else because Bandai seems to be afraid to give it too much support after all like the level cheating it did made people really upset that they eventually had to ban cards because HPD is just asking for trouble with eventual design. Next up, we got Togemon. I love its art. 2 to Digivolve into, 5,000 DP, inheritable. Your turn, once a return, when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, this Digimon gets plus 2,000 DP for the turn. So yeah, you're doing a lot of that in green anyways. That inheritable is nice. I don't think this card sees a lot of play since you're not really aching for plus 1,000 plus DP in green, and you have easier ways to hit it. Next up, we got Quagmire, 2 to Digivolve into, 5,000 DP. Start of your turn, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 DP or less. So that is okay, just for free at the start of your turn. I don't know how often you're going to be sitting on a champion in your battle area, though. It'll probably get deleted by the time it comes to your turn again. And at worst, you could just swing over a rookie, so not too impactful, I feel like. Its inheritable is your turn. When this Digimon deletes one of your opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, one of your opponent's suspended Digimon doesn't unsuspend during their next unsuspend phase. So people used to run Puppamon a lot because there wasn't a lot of answers to it. Now that it's like, what, 11 cost? That's way too much memory to give over, and your opponent will probably win that turn with all the memory you're giving them now, with how fast the game has gotten. So this kind of replaces that by stunning something and making them unable to digivolve, or rather unsuspend on their next phase as an inheritable. I think that's cute. If you are longing for that effect of Padamong, this makes it a lot more reasonable to run, a lot more likely to actually work rather than biting you in the back. So I think this card is cute and good on paper, but we'll have to see in practice because you mostly just want to be getting rid of everything suspended you can. But I understand you can't always do that depending how wide their board is and stuff. So Agumon might be a decent tech to sneak in there as a really cool alt art. Next up we got Stigma. Very surprised that Stigma doesn't have an alt art when he's one of the popular only 2 Digimon. He can Digivolve for 2 from a green or blue level 3, which is always awesome. And he has piercing, so that's pretty cool. Although you don't really want to do that too often, because I don't think there's a rookie level inheritable that gives this thing jamming, so I don't know how often that will even come up. Because you might just die in security, you might not want to pierce that often. Its inheritable is your turn while its Digimon has Imperial German in its name or free in its traits, it gains piercing. So this is really cool with that new Imperial German we saw, because not only does it suspend itself, it suspends one of your opponent's Digimon, and this gives it piercing, so now you get to still check security while threatening their board, so this is really cool. I don't know if you max out at this, maybe like 3 copies, but this is definitely a great addition to that deck. Lets you be a little bit more aggressive. You don't have to worry about blockers anymore. That is definitely fantastic. Next up we got Lilymon. I love her pose, like just saying hi to you. I love the alt art. It only has an inheritable, 3 to Digivolve into. Your turn. Once per turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, this Digimon gains security attack +1 for this turn. So that's not terrible at all. I think we actually just now in X2, if you're keeping up with leaks, I think we actually just got a card like this that's better. But I think it's Rapidmon. But for now, this is okay. Security Attack Plus is a very nice ability to be more aggressive and close games out quicker. And this is not a hard condition for green to meet at all, so you could definitely consider it, but I think there's better ultimates to run in green. Next up, we got Hercules Kabuterimon, or Mega Kabuterimon, who has a really sick alt art. It is, when attacking, the Digimon can Digivolve into a card with Insectoid or Ancient Insect in its traits in your hand for its Digivolution cost, which is really nice to be able to just go ahead and reduce that with Tentomon. Then it has Digivolve, I'm sorry, this says Digivolve and it's throwing me off. It's inheritable. Your turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, gain 1 memory. So that's definitely a nice inheritable to help you like gain back 1 memory and maybe go into your now that we have a what do you call them, a hybrid Digimon for green, you now have that memory, gain 1 memory, go to 2 to hybrid for game or something like that. It's okay. I don't see this card getting much play, especially once in BC7 we get actual hybrid support. Then we got Dinobemon. When Digivolve, it can actually Digivolve over a level 4 that is green or blue for 3, which is nice. Effect, when Digivolving, if a Digimon card with free in this trace is in this Digimon's Digivolution card, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon with 5000 TP or less. So that's cool board control for sure, but I think I would rather run the Pyodra for the unsuspend. This doesn't hurt whatsoever though. And then Digivolving effect is your turn, or rather inheritable is, your turn, when one of your Digimon with Imperial German in its name deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, gain 1 memory. Ooh, I like that. That could definitely help you put like enough memory to go into Lilymon or something. This is not a bad card at all. I like it. I definitely think between the two, Pyodramon is better, but this is not bad at all. Next up, we got Rosemon. Really cool art. Not too surprised that this didn't get an alt because it's one of the more obscure megas from that season. Never was in the show. 3 Digivolve into 11,000 DP, criminally low. But by the time of Classic Collection, this is criminally low in my opinion, especially for a main character. Your turn, this Digimon gets plus 1,000 DP for each of your opponent's suspended Digimon. I guess that's why it's only 11,000. And then when attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So okay, you get plus 1,000 guaranteed to put you to 12k. But seeing as this relies on your opponent to do stuff, you never want to see that at the Mega level. That's a little too slow. This card is not going to see play, I feel like. We got Hercules though, who does get an alt, which honestly I am surprised would get an alt over Rosemon. You at least have the waifu clause there, you know, because these are both obscure and weren't in their original season. So Hercules is your turn. Once per turn, when one of your Digimon with Insectoid or Ancient Insect in its traits deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, You may unsuspend this Digimon. Okay, that's definitely not bad at all because it unsuspends itself for free. So that's pretty cool. And then your turn, for each Digimon card with Insectoid in its traits in this Digimon's Digivolution card that gets plus 1000 DP. Wow, so that is potentially really good. Are these guys Insectoids? Yeah, they are. So this is potentially an easy, what, 15? Potentially. Easy 15, 14,000 DP. And with the ability to unsuspend itself, this is so close to being good. But seeing as it's 4 memory, I don't know. Even with HBD, that's limited to 1 now. I guess if you go heavy on the download, or what do you call them, the Digizorber Ultimates. And then this also does suspend your others, not just itself, but it is only once per turn. This is very close to being a solid card in my opinion. I don't know if it'll end up seeing play with competition between Ancient Troymon and Nidhoggmon, but it's nice. It's definitely nice. We're moving on to black here. We got Gurumon. We are getting more Diaboromon support, so that promo is going to go up yet again. We will 0 to play, 0 Digivolve into, 3 to play, 2000 DP, and its inheritable is your turn. For each other Digimon you have in play with the same name as this Digimon, this gets plus 1000 DP. So this is basically just like Sunomon, but even better because it's at the champ, it's at the rookie level. You get to double into Sunomon with this. And this is for each other Digimon you have in place. This is really solid. You could potentially go really huge with those Diaboromon tokens to get like beat over anything in security. I like Gurumon a lot. I think that's definitely an auto slot into Diaboromon decks. Next up, we got Haguroman. He used to be a 2-cost rookie for vanilla for black, and now we got an effect of him. His effect is on play, you may trash 1 Digimon card with Machine or Cybergenus traits in your hand to draw 1. So on paper that doesn't seem too exciting, but the Magnetromon archetype introduced in Classic Collection does revolve around having a filled up graveyard, or sorry, trash, and grabbing sources from that when you hard play Magnetromon. So that draws you and fills it up at the same time. Although you have to specifically trash something, so you're looking, so it's kind of like a 2-card combo for 3 memories. So Haguroman is super okay. And I think there's a better draw card introduced in this set too, I want to say. So I think this is okay, maybe as a 2-of, just to have that option to fill up your trash. And maybe I'm wrong and it's actually really good in people's testing, but yeah, this card seems very decent. Next up, we got Puti Sariman. Inheritable is your turn. Once per turn, when one of your other Digimon with the same name as this Digimon is deleted, unsuspend this Digimon. Oh wow, that's cool. So you could swing with your Diaboromon, then swing with the tokens. I think the tokens are only 3,000 DP, right? So they're very likely gonna be deleted into security, unsuspended, get another swing. I think the support for Diaboromon in this set is really solid because Puti Sariman and that Gurumon both seem really great to me. Next up, we got another Guardraman. Black is getting very few alternate arts. Oh, did they get any? Wow, Black got shafted. I know Magnetromon gets one, but come on, Mamamon's iconic. Or Metalmon is to me at least, because he was in Digimon World 3. Next up, we got Guardraman. 5 to play, 2 digital into, 6,000 DP. Effect is blocker, and then your turn, this Digimon can attack. So that's the trade-off of having a 6,000 DP, only 2 digital into blocker at the champion level. So that's a lot like the one we already have in 1.0. And its inheritable is, when attacking, you may trash 1 Digimon card with Machine or Cyborg and its traits in your hand to draw 2. So it's literally the exact same effect as Haguroman, except it's an inheritable. And I definitely like this a lot more as an inheritable because it costs less to digivolve into. You could do this constantly. If for whatever reason you're able to unsuspend, you get to do it again since it's not once per turn. And then the Magnetromon archetype wants Machine or Cyborgs in trash, so I think you run it just off of that alone. I think this is definitely a decent inclusion in Magnetromon decks, if you have the space for it. Next up, we got Androman. Androman is, when digivolving, you may reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 level 6 Digimon card with Machine and its traits among them to your hand, and then trash the remaining cards, 3 to digivolve into, and 7,000 DP. So this is your searcher for your Magnetromon boss monster in the deck. Reveal top 3, it is a Digivolve, so I'm definitely glad we don't have to hardcast it. But because of that, you kind of have to wait a long time to search. A searcher that Digivolves at the ultimate level seems really awkward to me, because it's kind of late to be hoping you search and see what you need at that point. Next up, we got the Inheritable, which is opponent's turn. While this Digimon has Machine in its traits, it gains Blocker. So that's amazing, because that turns your Magnetromon into blockers too, making it a big threat for your opponent to have to answer. This card's, I mean, you include it just off of being a searcher. Even if I personally think it's an awkward level to be a searcher, a Digivolving searcher, I think this is a solid card for sure, and you have to run it. Next up, we got Metal Tyrannomon. I remember this card being really good for Magnetromon decks. It is when digivolving, so it's another searcher. Reveals top 3 one Digimon card with Machine and trades among them. Exact same effect as Magnetromon. So that's great that they have multiple searchers they can go into. Well, it's kind of awkward they both have the same level. It would have been nice if one of these guys was printed on a champion instead. And then its inheritable is opponent's turn. While this Digimon has machineless traits, it gains reboot. So that's awesome. You can swing with your Magnetromon and then reboot and still have it be a blocker. Definitely an auto inclusion in this deck. Next up, we got Metal Mamamon, who is a cyborg, and it is when digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 level Digimon, level 6 Digimon with machineless trait. So it's yet another searcher. And first, I don't know why they're all at the ultimate level. I guess that way, at the very least, if you have to run all of these, you'll always have a searcher at the ultimate level, but I think they could have afforded one of these to at least be at the champion level. Then we have the Digivolve effect when attacking. If this Digimon has machineless traits, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with a play cost of 5 or less. Inheritable is definitely nice to have. Always good to have port control. 5 cost or less is pretty low, so I think you're really just mainly going to be hitting champions and lower. But it's better than nothing. I like having that control option. Then we go back to the Diaboromon support. Wait, am I saying Diaboromon wrong? I remember people pointing out that I say Diaboromon really wrong. I'm just so used to saying it like that, so correct me in the comments if I am. Opponent's turn. Once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon digivolves into a level 5 or higher Digimon, gain 1 memory. That is awesome. That is honestly really busted because this inherently makes all of your opponents level 5 or higher Digimon cost 1 more. So all your 3 cost megas are now 4. 4 costs are now 5. That's painful. And then your ultimates for 4 really hurts. That's a really good effect. I like it a lot. I think your opponent could probably just remove it with like Gaia Force or something, but that's also giving you a lot of memory at the cost of removing it if they're not like playing Jesmon and run Judgment Blade or something like that, you know? Otherwise it's not too cheap to remove a level 5. The inheritable is all turns, all of your other Digimon with the same name as this Digimon get plus 2000 DP. Nice, so that powers up your tokens as well as your Diaboromon. I like that a lot. This is definitely a great card for Diaboromon. Next up we got Edamon. I did not expect Edamon support. 3 Digivolve into 7000 DP. Your turn. When this Digimon digivolves into a Digimon card with Etamon in its name in your hand, reduce the memory cost of its Digivolution by 1. Cool. That's not bad at all. I like that a lot. Makes them all megas inheritably cheaper even in the future. Cool. And its inheritable is, while this Digimon has Etamon in its name, it gains jamming. This is specifically just for Etamon, so this is really niche. I mean, this is if you want to build like a fun Etamon meme deck. Then we got Metal Etamon. I wonder when we're going to get a King Etamon and actually make this archetype have something more to play into. It's 3 to Digivolve into. It's only a 10,000 DP mega. Opponent's turn. For each Digimon card with Etamon in its name in your trash, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. So that's not terrible. And then on deletion, de-Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon. Okay. I don't think this guy does enough, because on your turn he's 1000 DP, or rather on your turn he's only 10,000 DP. He's not even a blocker. It plays into his on deletion at the very least by Digivolving -1, and then if you went into Etamon underneath this guy, that stack now fuels up your effect for the next Etamon that comes out. More Etamon names in trash. I think currently there's literally only like, what, 16 Etamons you can even run in the game, so I don't even know. This is like, maybe it'll become better eventually. It'll become really funny how good it is the more Etamon support we get, but right now both these cards are kind of just pack filler. And then we got Boltmon. Really cool to see him in black now when we originally got him in purple. I didn't realize Boltmon was an old enough Digimon that he has classic collection art. I definitely thought this guy was a very, very recent Digimon, because I never seen him before this card game. He's 4 Digivolve into, 12,000 DP, reboot, unsuspend this Digimon, and that's it. And then when Digivolving, Digivolve -1. So Bandai really seems to value Digivolve at an incredibly high cost, because 4 Digivolve into really hurts this guy. I think he could have been 3, would have been completely fine. Reboot on a 12k is really great, because that's not even getting into all the inheritables you could possibly get under him. And then Digivolve, de-Digivolve on your Digivolution is really strong. I like that a lot. But man, just that 4 cost. If there's a way to reduce it and make it consistently go up to 3 cost, I think this guy is very solid. But other than that, he doesn't do too much once he's hit the board, so I think it's just an okay card, hindered by that 4 cost. Awesome, and now we're on to Purple. Purple starts off with good old Tapirmon, become quite the meme in the Digimon community. And then we have 3 to play, 0 to Digivolve into, 2000 DP, and the inheritable, your turn, once per turn, when one of your other Digimon is deleted, draw 1. That's funny, when one of your others, when Tapirmon is the one used to being deleted, and it's an inheritable. I think that's kind of slow for what Purple wants to do. I don't see Tapirmon seeing too much play. We got Demi Devvy 0 Digivolve into, 2000 DP, and it has Retaliation at the rookie level. That's huge. But then it also has your turn. While you don't have a Digimon with Yodasmon in its name in play, this Digimon can't attack your opponent's Digimon. So yeah, you have to balance Retaliation on a rookie because that is way too free removal. So that totally makes sense. It's cool. It starts kind of new Yodasmon archetype play. I think if you build around this will be a great card, and it might see some play in the kind of Yodasmon deck, because you do have Mallow Yodasmon and Venom Yodasmon. You have some very decent top ends for sure, and it'll only get more support as the game goes on because it is a main villain. So I think this card has potential to be very decent. It's okay for now. Then we got Wizardmon. He has 3000 DP, 2 to Digivolve into, Retaliation, and then Digivolve inheritable effect is your turn. All of your Digimon with Retaliation gain Rush. That's awesome. That is really potentially super good. I like that a lot. I think, okay, so we're getting Retaliation support in the set, and I think the problem with that is that as a playstyle, as an archetype, Retaliation does not have any way to force a battle. You can't attack unless suspended like how Blue now can in this set, or how Red could before if you're running Justmon with Judgment Blade or whatever that card is called. You have to hope your opponent plays into it, and if they're smart, they just won't play into it, so your Retaliation isn't really doing too much, even if you can rush with your hard-casted rookie that turn, so... This is all very potentially strong support. I just don't think it'll play well into the current meta. So I don't think it'll see much play. We got Devimon. He's not a blocker this time. Instead, he is on deletion. Return one of your purple level 4 or lower Digimon card from your chest to your hand. For an inheritable on a level 4, that is way too slow. It's just pack filler. We got Agumon. This dude's pretty cool. Let's see. When attacking, you may trash one card in your hand. Tell the Digimon gain security attack +1 for the turn. Does purple have a lot of DP boosting at rookie or below? Because 5000 DP, I don't see that living either check to even get off the second one. That's an interesting effect to give it. And then when attacking inheritable, you may trash one card in your hand to have the Digimon get +2000 DP for the turn. So I think that is a fantastic inheritable and definitely slots perfectly into decks like Tyrannomon. I think it has great support for it. Maybe against Rookie Rush, you could do that to be a little more aggressive. I think that's probably the idea there. I think this is definitely actually a pretty slept on card. It's pretty solid overall. He actually gets a cool art. I was not expecting that. We got Lady Devimon. Really surprised she or Yodasmon didn't get the alts. What the? When Digivolve, you may trash the top 3 cards of your deck, and that's it. So I would definitely rather just run the one we already have that at least lets you draw 2, trash 2. This just, I mean, purple wants to fill up its trash anyways, but like being able to choose what you're trashing is definitely an advantage. Its inheritable is your turn. Once per turn, when you play a Digimon from your trash, gain 1 memory. Ooh, that's a very nice inheritable. You can pair it with Omnimon Sword, I think it's called, and with what's it called, Mastemon. That's really good inheritable, you know, and paired with Wizardmon that we got, you know, I think this is pretty solid. I don't know how much play it'll see. We have to see the testing. I think it's a good card in a vacuum though. And then we got Yodasmon, the big bad of adventure. Your turn. When this Digimon digivolves into a Digimon card with Yodasmon in its name in your hand, reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution by 1. So that's really cool. That it makes all the ones we already have -1. Venom Yodasmon for only 3 is really solid, if you ask me. Really, really solid. And then we have inheritable. Your turn. While this Digimon has Yodasmon in its name, all of your Digimon with Retaliation can also attack your opponent's unsuspended level 4 or lower Digimon. So there you go. That's what I was talking about, where we don't have that forced battle. That is really great. They can attack the unsuspended Digimon. That is level 4 or lower though, so I mean that is good, but at that point you're going to want to beat over them. You're not going to want to retaliate over them. It's still good though, because you have like a ultimate that has retaliation or something like that. You could beat over it and still stick on the board, and now it's suspended and your opponent can't respond back to it unless they want to lose that Digimon. So yeah, that's a great inheritable. Really great for the Yodasmon archetype, if you ask me. Yeah, I like it. I just don't know how impactful an inheritable will be. At that point you're just kind of beating over it, but yeah, definitely good. Definitely a great card for Yodasmon fans. And then we have Skull Greymon that can actually digivolve over a red or purple. That's pretty cool, and it's only 3 to digivolve into for an ultimate with 8000 DP. You'd love to see it. Was Lady Devimon the only one before with 8000 DP at the ultimate level? You know, besides like besides Vanilla's. I don't know. Then we got security attack +1 naturally, which is awesome. And then end of attack, delete this Digimon. So if you swing with this, you get +2. 8000 is really lucky to live, but you have to delete it right away. And then on deletion, you may play 1 Agumon from your trash, suspended without paying its memory cost. I love this card. So maybe this card doesn't end up seeing much play. I truly don't think it would, unless you're playing Dr. Pepper Tyrannomon, because it synergizes well with your strategy you're already running with Marcus. but I think you would still run the old one more because it has Retaliation and Heritable. But I love this card for the flavor. I love this card thematically. Oh my goodness. Because Agumon has become corrupted, you know, Greymon, whatever, he's evil. He's been forced into an evil Digivolution because Tai wasn't thinking well. He goes on a rampage, doing huge damage. Security attack +1. You know, he burns out or is saved somehow, so he's deleted, leaving behind his exhausted self as the Agumon, represented by being suspended. You know, that he's defeated, he's exhausted, he's suspended when coming into play after the smoke is cleared. I love this card thematically. Next up, we got Venom Yodasmon. It has Retaliation naturally, and then it has when attacking, once per turn, you may play one purple level 4 or lower Digimon card with Retaliation from your trash without paying its memory cost. Any on-play effects of this Digimon played with this effect don't activate. That's still really great, because you can bring out the Retaliation Devimon, can't you? That's solid. And then if you have the Inheritable, you can force it to attack any level 4s that they have. They can potentially get lethal off the board. If you have that other one that gives them Rush as well. I think as an archetype, Venom Yodasmon is really cool. The thing is, it's just not fast enough, in my opinion, to keep up with the rest of the meta. By the time we get to BT7, by the time we get to Classic Collection, 4 cost definitely hurts it, but I think overall as a package, it's really cool, and it's definitely going to be a fun deck to use at locals. I for sure believe that. I definitely think you can steal some wins with this deck. It's really fun looking. And he does get a cool art. I'm surprised he would get it over Padamong. Padamong was the final villain of the venture, but I guess this guy did come back in 02 and all that. But anyways, we got Padamong. Actually, no, I think this guy was even in the original adventure. I don't know what I'm talking about. On play, delete 4 of your opponents to unsuspended level 4 or lower Digimon. Okay. So that kind of calls back to the original Padamon for 1.0's effect. And then your turn, once your turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted, draw 1. Okay, so you can't even get a full, like a draw for every one you delete if you delete more than one. But that's not bad. For a 12 cost, I don't see that being good. Because if you need to get past blockage for lethal, you're just going to pass turn anyways. This card won't see play. It's too slow, it came too late into the game. But anyways, we got Garudaman, who's once again white, which I think is really unfortunate, and it's what's really held back this archetype, because it shuts off all your options if this is all you have on the field. It is 3 Digimon into 11,000 DP and security. At the end of the battle, you may play one Garudaman token without paying its memory cost. That's awesome. I think that is very good for helping put lethal on your board and help activate effects to turn them live for a security bomb, which Black already has some great security bombs like Gurumon, so that's awesome. I love that. Opponent's turn, all of your Garudaman gain blocker, and that's it. Wow, so all your tokens are blockers, including that one you may have just played out of security. This is a great Garudaman. I love it. I think this absolutely replaces the BT 1.0 one. The 1.0 one has always been kind of slow. It's kind of whatever. A lot of the inheritables of this new card, it's kind of just do what it does already better, more efficiently. So I think you definitely just take that one out for this one. This is a really good card. I think that Garudaman got some incredibly solid support. Between the Puti Sariman promo that we got in BT6 that protects your Garudaman, I think it's solid. Very good archetype. I think it'll definitely see some wins here and there in BT in X1. It has a really nice alternate art. And then we got Magnetromon, who is a black Digimon, 3 to evolve into from red or black, level 5, 11,000 DP. And then it's mainly going to be playing it because it is 12 to play. On play, you may place up to 5 level 5 red and or black cards with Cyborg in their traits and different card numbers from your hand and or trash in this Digimon's Digivolution cards to gain 1 memory for each card placed. So it's kind of unfortunate that it's Cyborg and not Cyborg and Machine, but I guess that would have been too good. But yeah, you have some incredible inheritables here that become quite the wall for Magnetromon, and if you don't have a way to protect it, that's fine. Your opponent could literally probably only answer to it with Gaia Force or something. Because he becomes blocker, because Retaliation, he gets DP boost. This becomes a pretty scary Digimon to hard play. I really like Magnetromon, and I think a lot of people will have fun with this archetype. I think it'll definitely be an archetype to consider looking out for in the X1 meta. Next up, we got Analog Youth, which is a generic tamer introduced to this set. He's the main character of Digimon World 1. Really cool to see him. He's only 2 to play. That's insane to me. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck and add 1 Digimon card among them to your hand. Trash the remaining cards. So Purple loves this card, especially for only 2? Only 2 memory? That's insanely good. I like it a lot. Then we have all turns when one of your level 5 or higher Digimon with Digivolution cards is deleted, you may suspend this tamer. If you do, gain 1 memory, then hatch 1 Digi-Egg to an empty space in your breeding area. So again, that is really great for Lilith Loop because you get to gain the extra memory to loop some more. You get to draw more into your pieces because of that new egg space you opened up if you had moved previously. Yeah, and this goes in a lot of decks too, not just Lilith, but it's just from my testing. I know that the deck loves this card, so this is a fantastically generic tamer. A lot of colors are going to love it. And it has one of the most gorgeous arts in this set. I adore it. Next up, we got some options. Very few options in this set. We got Baptism by Fire, which is such a cool name. 3 to play, main, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less, and blocker. So he has to meet both of those conditions, right? This is a very bad card. And security effects just activates it. I mean, there is other ways that Red has to remove a blocker from field to be able to secure lethal, so this card is very bad. Next up, we got a very good card though, Ice Wall. I'm saying it right now, Bandai, I genuinely hope this card is limited or banned or something, because this card is not fair. It is only 1 to play. That is insane. And then main, all of your opponent's Digimon gain when attacking, lose 2 memory until the end of your next turn. And then in security, it is just Hammer Spark. It is gain 2 memory in security. This card literally says skip a turn. Your opponent cannot attack for a turn. That's basically what it says, because if they are close to lethal, they just need those 2 swings to win. You just play this, it's 1 memory. You just play 2 of this, and 1 swing will cost them 4 memory. Yeah, so like you can not only pass turn, you also prevent them from choking maybe if they're in a really bad memory threshold when they attack and lose 4 memory if you play 2 of these. This card is just unfair and insane. You don't mind seeing the security because then it becomes a Hammer Spark that might save you. This card is absolutely should not have been 1 cost. We got a 1 cost option, Ultimate Connection. I believe this card I was referring to earlier. Main, you may trash 1 level 5 Digimon card with Cyborg and its trace in your hand to gain 2 memory and draw 1. So it's not 2 like the Haguroman lets you, but you also get 2 memory. That is huge for only 1 memory. You go positive by 1. You get to draw 1 to hopefully unbrick, and then security effect activates the main effect. So in security, it's also a really good card. You definitely want to run this in Machine Dramon for the draw power and memory to facilitate plays. Next up, we got Fight for Your Pride. I love the card art on this one. It is 4 to play. Main, play 1 purple level 4 or lower Digimon card from your trash without paying its memory cost. Then, if you have a Digimon with Yodasmon in its name and play, 1 of your Digimon gains blocker until the end of your opponent's next turn. This is okay for 4. And security is play 1 purple level 4 lower Digimon card from your trash. Okay, so that at least could steal you lethal and, help you win next turn. Yodasmon. This is okay, but I don't see it seeing much play because of that 4 cost. Next up, we got win rate 60%. I think this card is unbelievably overhyped because, yeah, it is just more generic HPD, hidden potential discovered, but it is also more conditional HPD. Or rather, you reduce memory cost a lot more. It's not nearly as busted as it was. If you have a tamer in play, you may use this option card without meeting its color requirements. Well, that's really good. And then main, the next time one of your opponent's Digimon digivolves this turn, you may trash 1 Digimon card in your hand of the same color as the digivolving Digimon to reduce the memory cost of Digivolution by 4. So yeah, you have to have a tamer out. You have to trash 1 card, and it has to be of the same color. So -4 is good because you'll be going into most of your ultimates, or rather most of your megas for free, because most of them will be level 3 or 4. 5 is really pushing it for most colors to run. So yeah, this is certainly a good card, but like the discussion of it and like how game breaking it is, like I think people are overhyping it a tad. I don't even see too many colors running this because you don't see a tamer, it's just a brick. But yeah, you could definitely just slot this into any generic deck that is already running a tamer anyways. It is definitely a good card. Do not, don't get that wrong. It's definitely a good card. I just don't think it's like busted. It'll push any deck over the edge. But I love it, and you should definitely run it if you can find the space for it. That's another thing too. Deck space is getting really tight in decks now. And then we got Emergency Program Shutdown. It's really cute art. 3 to play. Main, your opponent can use option cards until the end of their next turn. And the security effect is your opponent can use option cards this turn. Then add this card to its owner's hand. So you can potentially shut down options from your opponent for 2 turns that way. Yeah, this is a really good card. You can swing it with your big guy, and then the only out they would have would be a Gaia Force or something. You can play this to make sure your guy sticks on the field if they can't swing over it that turn. So Jesmon decks have been running this. They really like it a lot to keep your little guy on board so you don't get rattle starved or something like that. Definitely a solid option. Now, for rating these sets, these are pretty self-contained. I think if we're going to have to give general ratings, we'll have to keep that in mind. Because I think, first and foremost, blue and red run away with the set. Red supports decks that already exist. Same thing with blue, supporting a bunch of decks that already exist. I think blue absolutely got the best support out of this entire set. I will give this a, what's our scale? Like, it's not a 10, right? I would give this a, wow, because you support 2 decks, both very well. And then you even got some generic stuff like the Source Strip deck here. I would give the blue a solid 9 out of 10. Imperial German doesn't end up becoming like a meta beast or anything like that, which I think would have put it at 10 out of 10, must buy. But I think, yeah, this is definitely a 9 out of 10 for now. If you're not into the archetypes, you're not going to see too much enjoyment out of blue in X1, but yeah, 9 out of 10 for sure. Then similar to red, we got some great generic support for old archetypes, but a lot of the generic stuff that they have is a lot worse than the generic stuff that blue has. Then you also got some dud megas, you have sharing your support with black as well. So it's definitely has not hurt it by far near this much, and it's still great support for old cards. So I think, but yeah, your megas are kind of dud, so I think I would give this a solid 7 out of 10. I kind of want to give it 8 out of 10 and put it in the range of blue because it gives such good support to bonds. But overall, the other cards really are lacking. Tyrannomon support is nice, but not enough to put the deck where we want it to be. So overall, I appreciated supporting old decks though, and that's awesome with the Classic Collection. 7 out of 10, which is still an absolutely solid rating for any threshold. Next up, we got yellow. This is where I was talking about the rest of the colors. Basically introduced new playstyles, new archetypes. So they're really self-contained to the X Collection set, and you kind of judge it within that box. I think there is some decently generic cards for yellow here. And the archetype itself plays fine enough. I don't think it's bad at all. I definitely don't think it's on the level of the other ones. I think it's a very average, you know, if you like yellow, you have some toys to play around with here, so I think it's a very solidly average 5 out of 10, not bad. Green is setting up for future sets, because BT7, when we get those ancient insectoid hybrids, you do have some of your support shared with blue, and that support is pretty good. I think you're mostly running the Stigma. The other stuff itself, the generic stuff, is pretty lacking. I think overall I give this the same range. I think it's definitely better than yellow just because it's able to play its future stuff better, and it supports a decent archetype right now. So I would give this a 6 out of 10 over yellow. 6 out of 10 is very nice. Then we get black. Black is also very solid because it is introducing a new archetype in the set. But unlike yellow, I think it supports that archetype very well, and it's very playable right out the gate with just the support. We do see some new support from Dramon coming because he's going to be, he's a pretty popular fan favorite Digimon, so he will always get new support. But we know we have, I think it's Dramon, I think it's called, in BT7. So it's a good investment because it'll get new support. But yeah, the Gurumon support is amazing. Dramon is a very playable archetype right out the pack. So I think this is a solid, I give this an 8 out of 10. I give this a very solid 8 out of 10. I think its legacy support is better than Red's legacy support, and the Dramon archetype being playable is huge points for it. It's very much an 8 out of 10 right out the gate. Purple is okay. I think it's a very fun pet deck. I think you could totally take locals with it. I think it's a little too slow for what it wants to do. Overall, I give it a solid 6 out of 10. And then after that, just kind of options and stuff, not to factor too heavily into it. You know, I don't really think of gray white on its own, but Analog Boy is a 10 out of 10 tamer, and definitely the rare to look out for. If you're buying singles, definitely get Analog Youth no matter what deck you're running. You can slide it in there potentially. So that's going to be the set. I think X1 is absolutely amazing set for collecting. If you're nostalgic for this art, you're going to love it. I think if you're looking for the new archetypes, if you're a big fan of Diabora support, if you're a big fan of Dramon, I think you're going to definitely be okay with getting a box. I think you're probably going to want to pull all that, especially for those alts that are gorgeous if you want to bling out your deck. But for pure competitive playing, I say this is definitely a safe set to just get singles with, or if you want to pick up that gift box talked about at the beginning of the video. I hope you guys enjoy this video because, man, this is a long one and my throat is gone. I'll see you in the next video, and until that next video, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.
Yo, check it out now. Third strike, yo.